Hi people, hope you're good. Trust your day went well. It's your lady again, Uche Akomas. Today I want to talk about something that I've been thinking about for quite some time now. You're welcome to my channel if you're just joining me for the first time. This is what I do here. I talk about life related issues which are designed to inspire a positive change by changing the narrative from my little corner. And anywhere I find myself, it's my little corner, and this is Thought Central with Uche. Today, I want to talk about something that, like I said, I have been thinking about for quite some time now. What is that, you may ask? Okay, so I want to talk about being a mature single lady. And by my own understanding, a mature single lady is a lady who is from 35 and above, 35 years and above, right? A lady who is late 30s and above. Now, I know there's so much expectation for single people, more so single women, to get married at certain age, at certain time of their lives, especially when you clock 30 and marriage hasn't happened. People look at you with weird look, wondering if something is wrong with you. Forgetting that some single people are not married for some reasons. A lot of factors can contribute to a single lady, a mature single lady, not being married at a certain age or at a certain time of her life. And the truth is, everybody has the right to decide when they want to begin the journey of marriage. Not the society, not our loved ones, not our friends. We need to be certain that this is the time for me to get married, okay? Irrespective of what the society says, irrespective of what your parents, your loved ones, your colleagues, your friends are saying, every individual needs to be sure that they are ready for that lifetime commitment. So back to the factors that could make a single person still remain unmarried in her 30s, late 30s and above. Now, first, we need to understand that some people are victims of dysfunctional homes where there was a lot of violence, where there was a lot of toxicity, and some of these adults or children who grew up in such environments are yet to heal from these level of hurt, toxicity, or trauma. And it's important that we know that as long as people do not heal from these experiences, these unpleasant experiences, there is a high possibility that they're going to take that into their marriages, and that will be worse because that will be them recycling the hurt, the pain, the trauma. So it's important that if you were exposed to any form of abuse, if you grew up in a dysfunctional home and it impacted on your life and you have not healed from that, it's important that you heal from that. And that healing is not automatic. Some people need to go for therapy. Some people need to read some materials and and do the inner work. Some ladies, some men wonder why they keep meeting the same kind of people in the dating, field. When you don't heal from the wounds of the past, when you don't heal from the heartbreaks, when you don't heal from that family trauma, you are going to replicate those things that you really didn't like about your parents or you didn't like that happened to you. So a lady grew up in a family where her mother was being abused by her father. The father abused her mother physically. And she kept saying, "No man will do this to me. I'm not going to allow any man do this to me." Then she gets into the university, her first boyfriend, the love of her life, her first love, so to say, happens to be an abuser. And then this guy beats her up again and again, even without being provoked. Then she meets the second person, the same thing. The third person, the same thing. The fourth boyfriend, the same thing. And she kept wondering, why do I keep attracting men who abuse me? Because she has not dealt with that. It's not enough to say, I'm not going to do this to my wife or my girlfriend. I'm not going to do this to my husband. You need to do that work. You need to do the inner work. You need to work on yourself. You need to heal. You need to come to terms with your heart and how those hurts or that hurt makes you feel, and deal with it and heal from it. If not, you'll find yourself getting involved with the same kind of people or the same type of men who abuse you if you're a lady, and women who may also abuse you if you're a man. So these things are what we need to deal with while we are still single. For people who grew up in dysfunctional homes, for people who were exposed to some kind of abuse when they were growing up or at some point in their lives, these things have a way of impacting on us, consciously, unconsciously. And it takes one who is, conscious and self-aware to point out these things. Sorry, excuse me. The second factor is some single ladies have experienced life and they have become more aware, so self-aware that they have been able to define what they really want. So they know they don't want to settle for less. They know that they have set certain standards for themselves and they're not willing to bring down those standards. I know some people say, oh, you're single, you're a mature single lady, your standards are high, maybe you need to bring it down, maybe you need to tone it down. But if those standards are realistic standards, if, for instance, you're a Christian, a believer, and you have the standard, you have, set a standard for yourself in respect to relationship and marriage ultimately. And one of those standards is that you're not going to have any sexual intimacy with a man until you get married, to honor God with your body because your body is a temple of God. That's a high standard. And someone telling you to bring down your standard or tone down your standard a little bit shouldn't be paid attention to. That's your standard, and you know why you've set it for yourself. Or you say, okay, I know I'm a high quality woman and I'm not going to settle for less. I'm not going to settle for someone who will come into my life and make it look as if he's doing me a favor because I am a mature single. I'm in my late 30s or early 40s. Some men come into ladies' lives and because they feel they are mature singles, age, so to say, according to society, is not on their side, they feel that they are doing these women a favor. I've met a couple of men who, thought they were doing me a favor because I allowed them into my life and I gave them access to my life. But the moment I noticed that vibe, I just let them go. So some ladies have set these standards for themselves. And you think those standards are high. A lady is doing well for herself. A lady is working hard. A lady has worked hard and has gotten to a certain level in her life. She probably may have a master's, MBA, MSc. Maybe she's doing her second master's. Maybe she owns a business or she runs her own company. And then you're saying that she should marry someone who is not up to her social class. These things really matter. These things really matter. And sometimes, in some cases, some men who feel that ladies are somehow higher than them in terms of their IQ, in terms of their, financial, capability, get to be intimidated by these women. So what you see sometimes is the man comes into the woman's life and then he tries to make her shrink for him. And ladies, there is nothing, absolutely nothing we can do for men who feel intimidated by us. There's nothing you can do to them. If a man has a low self-esteem, if a woman has a low self-esteem, he or she needs to do some work on himself or herself. And it's not on you, the significant other or the partner, to do the work. That person that is experiencing low self-esteem or low self-confidence needs to do some kind of work on himself or herself. It's not going to be done by another person for him or her. So there is really nothing you can do for a man who feels intimidated by you, who has a low self-esteem, who wants you to shrink just for him to feel in charge. There's nothing, absolutely nothing. Another factor that could make a woman or a single lady to be single in her late 30s and above is we are not ignorant of the devices of the enemy. We know that there are forces. We know that there are things that, the Bible describes as wickedness in higher and lower places, principalities and powers. And we know that we're in Africa. And Africa is not the only place where, evil lies. Africa is not a continent that has the monopoly of evil or diabolism or diabolic people. Evil is everywhere. In the Western world, there is evil. So we know there are forces that are working against our lives and destinies and all of that. So that could also be a factor, militating against, say, a mature single lady, or that can stop this mature single lady from being married at a certain age. Okay, so another factor that can, stop or make a single lady not to get married could be fear of marriage. In as much as some of these people, they are grown and you expect okay, but some are still nursing fears about marriage. And when people have fears about marriage, it's something that needs to be looked into. Because something happened along the line. That fear must have an origin. That fear must, have a source. So when you meet people, right? If you have a mature single lady around you, it's important that you are sensitive and considerate and empathize with that person. Some of us are not married, not because we don't meet men, but because there are certain things we have set for ourselves, certain standards we have set for ourselves. For some people, they are dealing with, pain, trauma, from heartbreaks, from family negative patterns, and they need to heal, they need to deal with those things. So it's important that you cut some slacks for mature single people. When you open your mouth and say, oh, she's choosing, she's being selective, she's choosy, and all of that, it's not your business. You don't know nothing about her life. You don't know anything about that person's life. You don't know what her life is about. You don't know what her journey of life is about. So we need to be more empathetic with mature single women. You don't know what they've been through. You don't know what they're going through. You don't know what you're dealing with. So I would say, don't shame single people. Don't feed them shame. Be loving, be caring, be kind. And if you are genuinely, interested to know what the problem is, there's a way you can talk to that person. Show concern instead of making some snide remarks about single people, mature singles around you. And when are we coming to eat jollof rice? When are you calling us? When are you inviting us to your wedding? And we want to wear a shebi. And when are you getting married? Don't you want to get married? Your mates are getting married. Those comments can break some single people. They break their spirit. Not every single is strong-willed. Not every single lady can take some of these snide remarks some of you make. I'm not speaking for myself, but I'm speaking for other ladies. Because I have gone through this phase and I have dealt with shame. I have dealt with different levels of shame that society, some friends, try to feed me with. And it's important that we know our place in Christ. Very important. One of the things that has helped me to, thrive in my waiting season, help me to thrive in my single season, it's my identity in Christ. I know who I am in Christ. And that has helped me. Christ has become my sufficiency. So yes, I feel the need. I desire companionship. I feel that, But I remember that I am not alone. That God is with me. And his thoughts for me are good and not of evil, to give me a future and a hope. And that strengthens me in my journey. All right, so I hope you were blessed by today's episode of Thought Central with Uche. Until I come your way again, God willing, in the next video, please be kind to that mature single around you. Be kind to those mature singles in your church, in your office, wherever you find yourself and wherever you meet these mature singles.